Greetings from Zimbabwe. Unfortunately, the YouTube Live often doesn't work and is not sustained by the internet here at the moment. So we are moving back into internet, and we want to greet you from Zimbabwe to this first ever Earth Family call on the One Home journey in the first country of the One Home journey, which is Zimbabwe. And the One Home journey started actually with an Earth Week, as you all know, and we have just gone through a most extraordinary experience of an in-country immersion, learning from social innovators here on the ground that you are going to meet, some of them in this boardroom, and ready to share the wisdom that comes from Zimbabwe for a regenerative, inclusive, just, and joyful Earth civilization that is at the very heart of what we are building as the Home for Humanity movement for human flourishing and planetary regeneration on this One Home journey. More to share as we are going through the program, but we want to tune you in with a very short video on what is the One Home journey about.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, please share screen, Arjuna, from your side, and share our first video. Maybe I go a bit out of the screen. Arjuna, we don't hear sound.
The sound is not still coming through. You just live without it. So, dearest friends, this has been an extraordinary start to the One Home journey. As you know, it was our deep commitment to start the One Home journey in the cradle of humanity. And we came to a country that is so dear to the Home for Humanity movement, so dear to the world, Zimbabwe, the home of stone. And here we had the first Earth Week, hosted by our foundational Home for Humanity, the Integral Kamusha, a national and indeed an African role model of an integral homestead. And with us, we have the founders, Christina Maichumuthi Moyo Taranike, and Dr. Daud Shumba Taranike. And they were only able to do such an extraordinary Earth Week because we started on the foundation of the strong partnership, the marriage, as it was described by someone you're just going to meet here in the great Zimbabwe University. It was only possible through the deep relationship between Integral Kamusha and the Catholic University of Zimbabwe in Harare on the one hand, which welcomed the One Home journey with open arms in an extraordinary performance, in an extraordinary gathering, an extraordinary public gathering of people of all backgrounds, from students, faculty, to members of the public, from where we moved to the Integral Kamusha and now have culminated after several extraordinary, profound, immersive, integral experiences to the pinnacle, the historic site, the ancient site of Great Zimbabwe, to the Great Zimbabwe University. And we realized, why is it the only university in the world which has the word great in it? This is really a great historical, cultural heritage site and a great university. And we had an extraordinary day where we visited some very, very important sites for future building based on the heritage and knowledge of the past. And we planted the third Unity Park symbolizing unity with nature and all cultures, the third in Zimbabwe, the first being at the Catholic University of Zimbabwe, the second being in the Integral Kamusha, and the third being here, which is why by the time we washed our hands and came here after planting trees, we were not only quite hot and tired, but a bit late in needing to set up the system in the boardroom of the Great Zimbabwe University. But we are here, we are excited for you to learn a little bit of what we have experienced, discovered through experience, through this immersive, profound experience in this extraordinary country, culture, and the extraordinary people of this country.
So, dear friends, you are getting already a taste that the wisdom that we encountered here in Zimbabwe, in the cradle of humanity, brought us in profound connection and touch with the earth, with Mother Nature, and with culture. Here in the cradle of humanity, touching base with Africa, our common heritage. And before you meet some of the extraordinary social innovators working here on the ground live and also in interaction, and we greet our friends also who are joining us from around the world on YouTube Live, which seems to be functioning again, we want to tune you in with a very short video that gives you impressions of whom did we meet during this week, how did we all together here engage as an ecosystem for innovation, and receive these impressions of this profound week that we just lived through before you meet our friends here in Zimbabwe live. Yeah. It's starting now.
The sound is still not coming. But, we're still not getting the sound.
You have to imagine the sound on our side. Dear friends from around the world, these were the impressions that we collected on this first Earth Week ever. Forgive us if the sound didn't work on your side, but at least it was a profound meditation visually into the world of Zimbabwe. Sound is now coming up full-fledged, however, as we are going to meet inspiring speakers, social innovators from Zimbabwe together, and each one of them focusing on one central question that is journeying with us around the world. How do we transform our divided world and endangered planet into an inclusive, regenerative home for the entire family of life? How do we transform our divided world and endangered planet into an inclusive, regenerative, just, and joyful home for the family of life? And it gives me great pleasure to invite now the Dean of the Faculty of Culture and Heritage of the great Zimbabwe University, Professor Manyanga. I'm looking for the beautiful first name, Munyaradzi Manyanga, who is now speaking to us as one of the great masterminds of understanding the depths of Zimbabwean culture.
And also for the indigenous culture.
Thank you very much, and good evening, friends of the earth. What a wonderful opportunity to be part of this journey. And from our own perspective here at Great Zimbabwe University and from Zimbabwe in general, is that we think that we can have a better world, a more inclusive world, if we are able to link issues of nature and culture in an inclusive way in order for us to be able to protect our home, in this case, its earth. But we do have a couple of lessons that we can learn from the past, especially looking at our deep past, in which we can see past civilizations during which we have seen how this incorporation of nature and culture, how it played out to build more sustainable civilization like the Great Zimbabwe civilization. Another key lesson is that it doesn't matter where you are coming from. It doesn't matter your religious affiliation or your way of life. The essence of life for every community is to protect Mother Earth. It's the whole of the earth stewardship. And the key values being issues of interconnectedness, issues of harmony, issues of balance with nature, and also issues of compassion, mindfulness. And so it is very important that we can learn out of all these particular aspects. But trying to reflect on our own civilization here, being the Great Zimbabwe World Heritage Site, we take a couple of lessons from our interactions with the site and our understanding of the site, especially with the whole issue of nature and culture interactions. The most important being that we can have a window into the past, and when we have that window, we have an opportunity to see opportunities for innovation, especially when we look at the amazing architecture. There is also room for us to understand on livelihoods when we see how this massive civilization sustained itself over the years. We can also learn from issues of healthy eating and healthy and sustainable agricultural systems and food security, again, from how the state was structured. But also we learn also that it's not always rosy when it comes to these urban formations. Some of them, when they reach certain levels, they become unsustainable. And probably this is why Great Zimbabwe had to be abandoned as a center and opt rather for what we can call dispersed urbanism. But generally, there is a lot to learn from the past. There is a lot to learn from our own communities, especially looking at local knowledge. There is also a great opportunity for us to be brought together by issues of our heritage, both cultural heritage and natural heritage as humanity, in order for us to continue with the God-given responsibility for Earth stewardship. I think this is what I could share with you, dear friends, on this very particular and interesting journey. Thank you.
Dean Dr. Manyanga, do stay for a moment. You know, this is quite extraordinary in itself, given the decades of experience you have, the excitement you've had of literally working as an archaeologist in this remarkable site. I was not aware of the extent to which you said it is the second largest, if you could just say that, so people get a sense of how important the Great Zimbabwe site is, which you have worked with as an archaeologist yourself. The second largest in the world after...
Okay. It's indeed a privilege to work at Great Zimbabwe as an archaeologist, and it is the largest man-made structure south of the Sahara. We are just here, just excluding the issue of the Egyptian pyramids, and it is one of the civilizations that developed in Southern Africa, an indigenous civilization done by the local Africans, but well connected with the global community. It is indeed an amazing civilization and an amazing window to learn through understanding the past, and an opportunity for us to pick a few lessons in terms of our stewardship of Mother Earth.
And the fact that you managed to synthesize that into such a few moments, we really are so impressed. It has been extraordinary to hear you here in Great Zimbabwe University and out on our site visit both today and tomorrow. And with that,
thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, sorry, and what I did want to mention as well is that Great Zimbabwe University and your faculty holds the UNESCO Chair for African Heritage and Culture. And that's also a little bit the vocation of this university. So that's another reason why it's such an honor to be over here and to have you here, because you are preserving what is essential for the future of your country, Africa, but really the future of humanity on Earth.
Yeah.
So
I could also add that we not only hold the UNESCO chair, we also have a mandate as a university. Our university was established purely to look after our arts, culture, and heritage in an inclusive way. So indeed, it is a great opportunity for us as a university to contribute to global efforts when it comes to heritage and how it can inspire us to have a peaceful world and also a sustainable home for us.
Thank you, Professor Manyanga, also for these concluding remarks, and with that actually tuning us into the mandate of the Great Zimbabwe University. We welcome the Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture and Engineering, Dr. Xavier Pochiva, who has been a major protagonist also of creating and developing this societal ecosystem for the renewal of your society. Dr. Pochiva, please.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. And I want to welcome you to Great Zimbabwe University. My partner has already spoken about our role that we play as Great Zimbabwe in the niche of the university, which is arts and heritage and education and even in culture. But I'm speaking right now covering one of the important areas that humanity is fighting with, that is fighting poverty and hunger. And my school is mandated to do something pertaining to fighting against poverty and hunger, particularly looking at areas that we are working with. I'm talking of areas that we call drylands. And today we had an opportunity to see what our efforts we are currently doing as Great Zimbabwe University to try and fight poverty and also reduce hunger. And I think it will go a long way in making sure that people in Africa and in drylands, I think we are all aware that drylands have been seen as fortresses of hunger and strife, and our efforts at the moment is to try and convert that kind of view into making sure that drylands are viewed as citadels of innovation and industrialization, so that we come up with innovations that will help us feed the whole world or feed the people that are living in this drylands. So I'm not going to say much. I'm a bit tired now and I'm not thinking now. So I just wanted to greet you tonight and say thank you very much for this opportunity. As Great Zimbabwe, we are really, really honored to be with you and to join our partners, Integral Kumusha and Home for Humanity, Catholic University of Zimbabwe, and in this journey that we have started together. Thank you very much and good night.
Thank you. Well, if you had seen this gentleman in action, the dean, I mean, this is really called being a hands-on dean, a hands-on academic who is there really serving the country. We were really humbled to see how this university has put itself following its mandate of preserving the cultural heritage of this country for humanity, adding on the other departments, the other faculties and schools, such as agriculture and now engineering, right? But really taking on the mandate of transforming poverty and serving the population on a massive scale. And this dean has been with us in such a dynamic way since this morning, taking us on the field visit, sharing his passion. If you had not been a bit tired now, I would really think you are a superhero. So thank you. But he was also instrumental in one more thing. When we started this journey coming to Zimbabwe, our beloved Zimbabwe, we had one extraordinary home for humanity, our foundational home for humanity, who you are just going to meet. But we now have gained 2 additional homes for humanity. And this is a paradigm shift in education, because these are 2, one public and one private university, which truly believe that a university should be
a home for humanity.
And that was the way he greeted us this morning when we came into this beautiful university. And that is what the Vice Chancellor announced in his speech, that they are pleased to be a home for humanity. So an unexpected, extraordinary gift of our visit has been that the Great Zimbabwe University is now a home for humanity, an exemplary home for humanity. And every day they are serving the nation and the world in regenerating the world. And as you'll find out in a few moments, the Catholic University of Zimbabwe as well is now a home for humanity. And that is truly a great honor for us to be on this journey with you.
Dr. Toshiba, if you even stay for a moment, because we would like actually, as Rama already introduced briefly the Catholic University of Zimbabwe, we would like to invite the Dean of the Faculty of Ethics, Religious Study, and Theology and Philosophy, Dr. Julius Tugarepi here, because both universities today were honored as exemplary homes for humanity. And we would like to bring both deans together in front of the camera. And dear Dr. Tugarepi, share with us, please, the perspective of the Catholic University of Zimbabwe and its mandate for society and your role in this constellation of the renewal for Zimbabwe.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Alexander. and good evening to you all, or greetings to you all. As you have heard, my name is Dr. Julius Togarepi from the Catholic University of Zimbabwe. As a university, we believe we have a mandate for God and for wisdom. And that is the motto that we have as a university. And in the process of regeneration of the planet, our mandate is to start from the first home, the inner home. We do believe that we can attain the unity that is needed, the regeneration that is needed, if we work first with the agent who is fundamental, namely the human person. So that's where the first work actually is. So as a university and as a faculty, as you have heard, we have about 4 departments there. We have the Department of Theology, and in the area of theology and religious studies, we believe that there is a connection in the nexus that is there between the living human being. Then we also are talking about the transcendent. The transcendent here, we are looking at the supernatural power that can be named as God in Christianity, that can be Allah in Islam, that can be Musiki in ATR. And we are saying it is important that the relationship that is there between that transcendent, the supernatural power, and the human person be established, be strengthened. And we are also saying there is nature, and nature is not a product of humanity. But humanity has produced culture, and humanity has this heritage. And with nature there, it is important that humanity establishes who it is in relationship to nature. Are we part of nature? Are we apart from nature? And if the best attitude is established, the best relationship is established there between humanity and nature, then all goes well. Civilizations that we will build depend upon our understanding of that relationship. And in that case, we also have, on the other side, an assistance from, we can actually say, the past. As you have heard my colleague said, we need to dig from the old script. And when we are looking at the old script, we are saying, what are the other philosophies saying? Wisdom from the past is important for us to actually bring about this regeneration. And as we are aware, we have built actually civilizations that are very good, that have said something about ourselves. And when we are looking at the heritage that we have, when we are looking at the systems that we have, to a greater extent, they reflect who we are. And they reflect our understanding. And if we do not, we actually have a miscrude understanding of self, then we actually build civilizations that to some extent can bring about some of the evils and ills that we are experiencing today. And we are actually saying there, it will be great that we get back to the human person. We reflect who are we. And we have the past wisdom, but we also have the revealed truths that can assist us. We also have the philosophies that are there. And we are also saying, insofar as we can get these philosophies, we have this revelation, unless we have a strong moral fiber, we need ethics to come in to assist us to bring about that regeneration. So as a university, we have that commitment actually to build the first home. And we have come up with a number of programs that are there to work with the mental health, to work with the spiritual health, and also to work with the social health of our community. And those, when we bring them together, and in partnership with my colleagues that are here, Integra Kumusha, Great Zimbabwe, and Homes for Humanity, we actually already have an initiative that is in place that we seek to actually implement at least to build those three facets that are there, that will see us into the regeneration of the human person, of the universe. And the greatest takeaway which we have had this week is that we cannot go it alone. It has been great to be working together. Moving from Harare, where we established a unit park, going to Mukoto village in Buhera, and now in Greater Zimbabwe, where we have the cradle of humanity and the greatest of these monuments in our in Southern Africa and in our country. We have seen that it has been great to be together. And if we take on that spirit of togetherness, then we will actually regenerate our universe. Thank you very much for listening to me.
And it is now our great pleasure to invite Dr. Daud Taranike to the stage. He has been already, together with his wife, Christina Taranike, both the co-founders of the Integral Kumusha, the Integral Homestead, our foundational home for humanity in Zimbabwe. And dear Daud and dear Christina, share with us the story of the Integral Kumusha, of Nakanomics, and the power of women that you are unleashing.
And how they are really the key for our future.
Thank you, Alexander, and dear friends, we greet you all from the Great Zimbabwe University. It is a great pleasure to have participated on this Earth Week, which is part of the One Home journey of the Home for Humanity movement. And we are so proud of the partnership that we have with the Home for Humanity, the Catholic University of Zimbabwe, and the Great Zimbabwe University, forming what we confidently and proudly call the Quaternity. This is a special partnership that is unique to Zimbabwe and probably to Africa as a whole. And we are quite so happy that as the Integral Kumusha, which is part of this Quaternity, we play a pivotal role in advancing the regeneration of our one home, which is planet home, earth home. And as the Integral Kumusha, our desire is aligned to what Dean Dr. Poshua said, to eradicate hunger and poverty and marginalization, particularly for the rural folks. And we think this is our calling. If there is something that makes us lose sleep, it is the fact that we still have the majority of people in Zimbabwe, in the rural communities, constituting over 60% of the population, but with the majority of them still live in abject poverty and experiencing hunger. And we sincerely believe we cannot have a situation where there are still people who are going to bed without a meal and who are still experiencing poverty in this day and age. And our desire and mandate is to move individuals and communities from poverty to prosperity, what we call the P2P. And in our participation during this Earth Week, we drew on the wisdom of the elders of our communities, which also saw us drawing on the wisdom of the dreams of the 7-year-olds who are aligned to the 7 generations, which is part of the core desire during this journey. And we also worked with the youth for the future. Our future is being shaped by these youth, And we are so happy that we had an active and productive interaction with the youth of the community, who actually we say to ourselves we are borrowing from our future, from their future to what we have today, and we would like to give back to them a better world, a regenerative world, which is aligned to the theme of this week, Earth Week, which is creating regenerative local economies for the well-being of humanity in harmony with nature and culture, which our friends, Professor Bernard, is it Bernard? Oh.
Yes.
Chazovechi also echoed in the morning, who is the Vice Chancellor of this great university, the Great Zimbabwe University, and was also supported by Professor Mnyaradzi Manyanga, who has eloquently presented the desire on how we can regenerate our earth and regenerate humanity for a better future. And that saw us also having the Women of the Earth activity, which I will leave to my wife to talk about, and I'll come back and conclude our presentation. Over to you, Christina.
Good evening from Zimbabwe, and it is a pleasure to be on this platform. And what I wanted to share with you is that you cannot go ahead with regenerative without the woman. By nature, we are naturers as women, and there is no country or place or home. We call that a home is a woman in Zimbabwe, mushamukazi in my local language. However, we need to regenerate our healthy eating. We believe you are what you eat. And by so doing, we have gathered women in the village to really go back to basics, to go back to what we ate in the past that makes us who we are. So we had what we call gastronomy, where the women were showing their skills in different types of, meal preparation, when they're explaining how it has benefits to our health. And we gathered more than 56 ladies, and they cooked throughout the night, many meals. And we started 10 p.m., almost midnight, and finished off in the morning around 7. And we had judges that we invited from local Manicaland University, and they came and they went through every meal, and each participant had a chance to explain what benefits of whatever they've prepared, in an effort to have a healthy nation, a healthy home, and then we have transformative with healthy families. So we did that, and in the process they were awarded with certificates and also with the prizes, the gifts that they were given. And we believed that every woman had a gift of preparing meals, irrelevant of their background, irrelevant of their education, but they had something to put on the table. And with that, we had a great time, and we are wishing that this could be cascaded to all the villagers, to all the villages within the country.
Indeed, this was an auspicious occasion that was graced by the Minister of Manicaland Province, and it went on extremely well. And as we conclude this, I just want to highlight that the reason why we have come up with Zimbabwe, the integral Kumusha, and the economics concepts and models is the sheer understanding that we cannot change the current status quo, by using the old model which got us into where we are today. And as a result, the integral kumusha is a new innovation, social innovation that incorporates nature, culture, technology, and enterprise, which is an alternative to the corporate entity which only reaches out to technology and enterprise without looking at nature and culture. And as such, we, at a macro level, we realize that we need a new economic framework that will move us to the next level, and an economic model that resonates with the people, the African people in their cultural, traditional context, underpinned by the way the people use or used to create legacy, what we call Naka in Shona, and an inheritance that was touched again by Professor Munyaradzi before. And this is an Ubuntu and a heritage-based economic framework, which we call Nakanomics. And we know the current setting and model, which has been considered universally applicable, and a one-size-fits-all approach is not 100% applicable in our environment. Hence, this emerging framework, economic framework, social, economic, and political framework will take us to the new level, where we blend it with exogenous knowledge from other parts of the world that will help the common people in Zimbabwe, in the Southern African region, and in Africa to a global status where we take the pride of place in communicating and living in harmony with other different cultures and with nature. We are so happy that this has happened. The Earth Week has happened in Zimbabwe, and in this quaternity arrangement that we have just described and given you a summary. And we are so happy and proud that we are handing over this special Earth Week event to our colleagues in Sri Lanka. And I would like to say, Dr. Vinya, here is an opportunity to showcase what Sri Lanka and Savoria is doing in that part of the world, that we together will work together and learn and co-create a new regenerative economy, a new and regenerative Earth civilization. Thank you very much.
Bravo, bravo. Thank you so much. And you know what was so extraordinary about the truly extraordinary immersion of the Earth Week that we experienced through this partnership is you could really hear and feel what, Daud, you just expressed, how Nakanomics, how the integral Kumusha is having an effect at the planetary level, but it's only possible because of Ubuntu. And we saw the true fruits of Ubuntu, the harvest of Ubuntu, the abundance of Ubuntu, when we went to the nursery school, the primary school where Daud had studied. And we felt the overwhelming love when the small children came to say, "We love you, my Chumuti, because what you have given to our community, to our school, is so much we have no words." And when we went to the secondary school, we saw Ubuntu in motion, when we saw how you are supporting the secondary school and how the teachers were dancing with joy with the support that you have given them to their students to have a better future, when you talked about the future. And we felt that whether it was with the women who love you and have learned so much from you, have grown so much together with you, we felt that with the village headman and his wife who we met, this is Ubuntu in motion. And soon, indeed, that was beautiful as you handed the baton. to our dear brother, Dr. Vinaya Aryaratne, we will experience the Buddhist and Gandhian compassion in action when we are having the Earth Week there. So we have such gratitude, wordless, speechless gratitude for how you embody Ubuntu, and you're making that the new currency for the future through Nakanomics. We saw Nakanomics in action. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for this extraordinary experience. And to the great Zimbabwe University, and to the Catholic University of Zimbabwe. So with that, I guess you are in the spotlight, in the hot seat, dear Vinaya. We are going to be continuing from here to South Africa, then to Rwanda. We were scheduled to go to the Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, which may need to be postponed because of the monkeypox, but we will go to Uganda, where we will also be specifically in the Nakivale refugee camps, where we have our dear colleagues and team members, and thereafter to Kenya, from where, like our ancestors, we will move from Kenya to Sri Lanka for the next Earth Week to start the second season of the One Home journey. Dear Vinaya, it's late at night. Thank you for being there, looking so fresh, as if you've just woken up.
Thank you, Rama. Good evening, good afternoon to all of you. Let me first thank Dr. Dawood and Christine for that wonderful presentation capturing the essence of what you have been doing on the first week under One Home journey. And it's a great pleasure and honor for me to also join this family call, and also to formally take over the continuity in Asia and Oceania. So Sarvodaya, as it was referred to earlier by Rama, is a grassroots development organization with a history expanding to 65 years. 1958, it was founded as an educational experiment by a group of students and teachers from a high school in Colombo who believed in social transformation based on Buddhist and Gandhian principles. It evolved to a large development organization which is known as the Sarvodaya Shramadana movement of Sri Lanka. Sarvodaya word was coined by Mahatma Gandhi. He defined it as welfare of all, but we defined it as awakening of all, where we try to awaken or develop ourselves, starting with the individuals in spiritual, moral, and cultural dimensions. And based on those inner spirituality, we try to address social, economic, and political transformation. So that is the essence of the movement, and it's also based on the Buddhist principles of sharing. It's like Ubuntu, sharing, we call it dana, but we share not just our resources, our wealth, but our physical energy, our physical labor, our intellect, whatever we have in the well-being of others. So this movement was built on voluntarism based on this principle of sharing. It's very similar to the deep philosophy of Ubuntu, and also the work of Integral Kumusha. And I think we share a very common philosophy which is based, rooted on values, rooted on people, rooted on culture, but at the same time being modern, try to base what we do on science and appropriate technology and economics. So I think these are the similarities of the two movements. And in Sri Lanka, we have an educational arm of the Sarvodaya movement. We work in more than 15, we have reached more than 15,000 villages in Sri Lanka. It's about 1/3 to 2/3 of villages or rural communities in Sri Lanka. And we are working in sectors like health, nutrition, enterprise development, agriculture, environmental conservation, and so on. And it's a holistic approach. It's like the integral approach. We call it an integrated and holistic approach, where we bring in the spiritual dimension with social, economic, and political awakening. So the Earth Week will be hosted by the Sarvodaya Institute of Higher Learning which is the educational arm of Sarvodaya, and development education has been at the heart of Sarvodaya's development process, and it's a transformation process starting with the individuals within. You look at your own self, the inner self, and then you take it to the transformation of your family, which we call Kutumbodaya, and then we take it to the community, the rural community, Gramodaya, then the urban communities, Nagarodaya, and the nation as a whole, Deshodaya, and the whole world, Vishwodaya. That's why we are connected globally to movements like Homes for Humanity, and we look forward to taking over the baton from Dr. Dawood and Christine from Integral Kumusha on the 16th of December in Sri Lanka, and we look forward to hosting it, the 7 days, followed by another 7 days of journeys in Sri Lanka. And it will be held in our educational institute, which is a nice, beautiful 8-acre campus bordering a very beautiful site, a river. It's a biological biodiversity hotspot in Sri Lanka with diverse flora and fauna, and we have just built new facilities there as well with our own earnings, with our own efforts, and it has plantations. We do regenerative agriculture at the same time, from meditation to learning about new approaches to social development, social innovation, technology, use of technology like the social media to information technology for social development. So that's the work that we are doing, and we really look forward to being part of the Home for Humanity movement and hosting the One Earth Week in December in Sri Lanka. And thank you for inviting us to be a part of this movement. Thank you.
Dear Dr. Vinya Aryaratne from Sri Lanka, making the connection seamlessly from Ubuntu-based paradigm shift rooted in African heritage to a Sarvodaya-based, Sarvodaya meaning the awakening of all, deeply rooted in Buddhism and Gandhism, paradigm shift, and in both cases, the development of a new economic approach from Nakanomics to Artha Dharma. Everyone is invited to join the Earth Week live in Sri Lanka. So this is an invitation to everyone here in Zimbabwe who is with us, and of course to everyone who is listening now in from around the world. It's open to each and everyone, and do know that the voices of young people, which we wanted to have actually in this call, and which we try to evoke one more time, with bringing in our dear Vatsanai Nikabau. I wonder whether we can hear you at least for a minute, one of the young change agents from Zimbabwe, who is driving change locally in the Catholic University of Zimbabwe, and at the same time is now going to journey with us as a youth envoy, as one of the first youth envoys around the world. Dear Vatsanai, can we hear you? Can we see you?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, wonderful. So give us a couple of minutes, your impressions also. You have been with us visiting the youth in the secondary school, in the primary school, and share your perspective as a youth leader driving the future.
Greetings, everyone. So as mentioned, I'm Wadzana Gracious Nekabau, the president at the Catholic University of Zimbabwe, and so grateful for this opportunity to share my experience and what we are doing at Catholic University. I was also part of the Earth Week. I attended the event at Catholic University of Zimbabwe and also at Integral Kumusha. It was an opportunity for me to interact with the students at Mukondomi Primary School and High School. Those students were so engaged when we were having our activities. It was so heartwarming to see those students being engaged and seeing someone who is in their age range, talking to them, offering encouragement and support. So their enthusiasm and reminded me of my high school and primary school. It brought me some memories of my high school. I also learned in rural areas, and in my high school, I also did it at rural areas. I felt so grateful for the opportunity to share my insights with them. They felt so inspired and feeling that they are connecting to someone with the same age range with them. So is it the right opportunity to share what we are doing at Catholic University? I can also share.
Dearest Vatsana, we would love to hear so much more from you. Unfortunately, here it's getting a bit late for the team on a Saturday evening, but definitely what I would like people to know is how what really was touching is that you shared with the secondary school students that your own background was very much like them, growing up in a very similar, very challenging, so maybe you say one or two words about that, and we are going to stay in touch with you so we can learn and travel with the youth and students of the Catholic University of Zimbabwe throughout the coming year and years.
All right, about my background. I also learned in rural areas in Mutoko, there in Mashonaland East. It was like a rural school, a government school as well, just like Mukondomi Primary School and high school. I didn't get that opportunity to get such knowledge like what these other kids did. All I wanted to do when I was growing up, I wanted to attain leadership positions. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to attain those leadership positions because of some other challenges. Yes, I've been a prefect and so on, but for me, it wasn't enough. I wanted to be in the junior parliament, but I didn't manage to be part of that one. So I shared with the students the power of confidence and self-esteem, so that they should believe in themselves. They should have self-esteem to tell themselves that I can do it. Not only those in rural areas, those in A schools, those in B schools, and so on. That the ones who are going to make it in life. No, you at rural areas, you can also do something, and you can actually move and attain leadership positions as well. I told them about my experience, that I came from a rural background. Then I went to university. I didn't like sit on a corner and say, no, I'm at a rural area. I'm coming from a rural area. But right now,
Dear Vatsana, can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you.
Oh, wonderful. It is so powerful to tune into your energy of building the future. We just hear the message that the power will be cut off any moment. So in this case, we would like to thank you for your input and for sharing. And we know you're going to travel with us. And we want to move straight to our final speaker, Dr. Youssef Mahmoud, our co-chair of the Home for Humanity movement and former Undersecretary General, actually of the United Nations, who've just actually been an active participant of the summit for the future in New York. Dearest Youssef, we invite and welcome your concluding comments. Take us from Zimbabwe into the world. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you very much. This has been a humbling experience to listen to what the leadership at the community level could achieve. I wish the world leaders who have gathered in New York would have listened to this, so they get an inspiration of what needs to be done to move from reform and change of an old governance system to a transformed multilateral governance system that serves us and nature and humanity. I have just heard integral leadership in motion. It's so powerful. And the call of our time is to come home. because we are in many ways, all of us homeless. And it is homeless because we have not summoned the right type of leadership that our times require. You know, our dominant understanding of leadership as someone who is in front doesn't work. And it would have been wonderful for these world leaders to hear how you've exercised a different kind of leadership, which is the type of leadership that is needed for regeneration and transformation. If you look at the origin of the word leadership in the sort of Indo-European perspective, it comes from the word leith, Leith, which means going forward, crossing a threshold, even dying and getting exhausting doing it. It's a crossing a threshold from something that is no longer working to something that is unknown, and you do that through innovation. And what I have heard are really 2 or 3, and I won't go more, 2 or 3 illustration what that integral leadership and action means by listening to the speakers from Zimbabwe and listening to my brother from Sri Lanka. The type of leadership that you have demonstrated is really illustrates beautifully the type of leadership that is needed to move us from what is, which is unsatisfactory. It created so much separation and division, to what if, the possibilities. So the 3 key hallmarks of integral leadership are as follows. The first thing is that in addition of you being a bridger, someone who moves from what is not satisfactory to someone that is good for everyone, is that you are a time rebel. And by time rebel means the past does not stay in the past, and the present sort of enthralls us with its emergency, and then you only think of the future as an afterthought. That's not integral leadership. That's not what I've heard. What I've heard is, as you address the challenges of the present and transform it to welcome the future, you are being a good future ancestor. That means that you are thinking of the times or the places or the generation that have yet to come. And you are thinking about the impact of what you're doing now on future generations. You are thinking about the gift you could give to future generations. And more importantly, everything you do, you are consciously aware of your footprints. So you don't unwittingly borrow from the inheritance of those that are not yet born and not represented. More importantly, you draw on past wisdom of past ancestors. And so that's what I meant by being an integral leader, is the timeline is not linear. It's all integrated, the present, the past, the future. Another important characteristics that I have heard the speakers before me demonstrate is that you interrogate assumptions. And the example that stayed with me is that dry lands are not dry lands. They are citadels of innovation, as we have seen from another home for humanity in Egypt called Shechem, where they transformed the desert into an oasis. So you question the assumptions that we have heard, the assumptions that have informed our understanding, for example, about nature. You know, that nature is outside us, that nature is something that is there as a resource for our exploitation, that our purpose is to get wealthy. So we are living the scourge of separation because we have treated nature as separate from us. We call it environment. And the human progress, therefore, arises from the conquest of nature. So integral leaders are the ones that question, and that's what you've been doing throughout. The final element is the connection. You are interconnecting everything. There is no regeneration if we don't connect the multiple homes, the inner home, the home where you live, and the planet home. And there is no way we're going to heal the world we have made and the consequences of the scourge of separation and the consequences of the sort of suicidal relationship we have entertained with each other and with nature without interconnected your inner home with outer home. So integral leadership is not the usual leadership. It's not a place to be. It's not a skill to acquire. It's all the efforts that make an entity complete. And it is co-leadership. It's bringing everything together in order to ensure that the outcome benefits all. And this is, I was amazed by the example that our sister Christina gave us about bringing women, nurturers, the nurturers. The home for the home, how shall I put it? The bird of humanity has been flying with one wing over centuries. And the masculine wing has been leading. And over time, it became over-muscular, stressed, tired, and violent. And the feminine wing sort of limping. We call on it when we are in trouble to babysit us. And so it's high time that we create, through integral leadership, an opportunity where humanity can finally fly with the feminine and the masculine wing. So we can gradually use the ship in leadership that is less leaky, that moves us from what is, which is a world of separation, to what should be, which is a world of regenerative, world that is full of regeneration, a world where we're all together, men and women, in order to safely get to the other shore. So thank you for providing me, certainly, with exemplary illustration of what integral leadership, evolutionary integral leadership looks like in order to help us through this journey. So integral leadership is really the software of this journey. It's what you don't see, but that's what being constantly exercised to move us from what we are to the future that we and the unborn generations deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, our dear Dr. Youssef Mahmoud. for not only culminating this foundational call from Zimbabwe so powerfully, in fact, yourself being an African future ancestor, and also reminding us about the importance and the significance of what you witnessed, that here is a possibility to make the bird of humanity flying once again with two wings, the masculine and the feminine. And of course, you know, here the Zimbabwean national symbol is the bird, the Zimbabwean bird, an eagle, who is also very prominent at the Great Zimbabwe Monument that we are visiting tomorrow, one of the sacred cradles of this nation, the home of stone, the house of stone, where we envision also Zimbabwe as a home for humanity as a whole. Thank you for moving us on the path of integral leadership, man and woman forward. And we want to thank Zimbabwe. We want to thank Zimbabwe for laying such a potent foundation today for our Earth family calling to which we collectively respond, to provide us with a foundation to root the One Home journey to each and every country with such a potent, remarkable, rich and wise example that can take us a big step forward into our common future. We respond with gratitude from Zimbabwe and thank our Zimbabwean brothers and sisters for the immense contribution that we witnessed collectively today.
Thank you. And maybe just so you can see our beautiful Zimbabwean family here, including Muziwanele, our beloved team member who has been with us all week, supporting us in this Earth Week. We could just come together, or you want to take it? I don't know if that will work this way. And just come, yes, so that people can just see you. We have people from the Great Zimbabwe University, from the Catholic University, students from here, our leading press journalists, and other civil society members. And we are really grateful to all of you for what you have shared with us. Thank you, and a special thank you to our Home for Humanity, Christina and Dao Taranike. And a special thank you to Arjuna, who happens also to be our son, so it's in the family, who jumped in, who was with us, supporting us to leave on the journey last Saturday and cleaning up the mess after we left, and now here supporting us through this slightly challenging but extraordinarily powerful call. Thank you.
Pleasure as always.
Thank you to everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone who follows us on YouTube Live. Stay tuned. The next Earth Family Call will be from South Africa on October 12th. More to come soon. Greetings from Zimbabwe.